Hey everybody, I'm Doug, that's Connor, and you're listening to the greatest, most longest running school district podcast in the southeast region of the Northwest Puget Sound. Is that correct, Connor?
That checks out.
It's been a while, I think.
No, I'm
Thanks
sure
for
that's
the fact
still
check
true.
there. This is the Bethel School District Presents podcast. We have a very special guest with us this week. Superintendent Dr. Brian Lowney has joined the show once again. Welcome back, boss.
Thanks. Let's go with Brian instead of boss or Dr. Brian Lowney today, just for fun. Let's just switch it up for folks.
Dr. Boss? No,
yeah, none
okay.
of that. No, I want none of that.
That sounds
today.
like a movie. I
Yes.
can watch that.
And it's always exciting to have Brian in studio, a wealth of knowledge on all things. And today we're going to be tapping into his knowledge of our two upcoming levy replacements. But first, as we always do, and it's no exception just because the big man's here, we are doing our useless trivia. And because you are here, we're going to let you start out first, Brian. What's your useless trivia for today?
I think my brain gets full sometimes, and I don't have a lot of room for useless trivia, which is either a remark on the size of my brain or the amount of knowledge that I have in my head.
Or how empty our brains are.
But I wasn't going there, Doug and Connor. But I do have a piece of trivia that kind of fits because we get to work in Bethel School District. And recently, to honor our Native students, families, and community, as you know, we changed the name of Bethel High School's mascot from the Braves to the Bison. They're fast, they're strong, pretty apropos mascot name. Excited about that. I also graduated from a high school in the area, not in Bethel, but within 20 miles. And that high school also changed its mascot for the same reason. And the piece of trivia I'd ask you guys, how well do you know me? The high school I was at changed its mascot from something that was Native related to something not Native related. Any idea what high school that was?
Well, I think the background research interns will be fired because we were not given this information prior to recording. So I actually don't know the other schools around here well enough. I'm Bethel through and through.
Yeah,
don't
I
really
recognize
know.
no other schools outside of our school district.
I can appreciate that kind of single focus, laser-like focus,
yes,
Connor,
exactly.
on Bethel schools. I'm actually a graduate of Clover Park High School. When I went to Clover Park High School, we were the Warriors. They're the Timberwolves now, so they travel in packs.
about
Pretty
that?
excited for those
That's
guys.
interesting.
Very cool.
Yeah, very good.
Shout out Timberwolves.
And I don't know if we can call that useless, but I do like it. Good piece of trivia
Yes. Well, and I'll go next. So, gentlemen, did you know that in 1943, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Pittsburgh Steelers were so short on players due to World War II that they temporarily merged into one NFL team called the Steagles? It just rolls off the tongue. So despite being a wartime mashup, they were actually really good, or pretty good at least. They finished with a winning record, 5-4-1, making them the only merged NFL team to ever do so.
That's pretty cool. And being a Pittsburgh-born boy, I appreciate that. Any other teams during the war that actually did the same thing?
Yes, and it is your Yinzers again. There's one other wartime merger. That was a year later. That was the Chicago Cardinals, and they teamed up with the Steelers again. That team wasn't quite as good. They went 0-10. The team was so bad, in fact, the fans nicknamed them the Carpets, as in everybody walks all over them.
That's rough.
I don't know whether the Steagles or the Carpets is a worse nickname.
And this is not my useless trivia, but did you know that the Steelers were originally called the Pirates, the same name as the baseball team?
Wow, just trivia galore.
A lot of
here.
Pittsburgh trivia on the show this week.
We're going to be big in Pittsburgh. And so, Doug, I know you're a stickler for these things. I'm going to cite my source here. Two sources, actually. One, NFL Pro Football Hall of Fame website, and the other, the Eagles football team themselves. They did a story on it.
Well, I love it. I love the Pittsburgh trivia. My useless trivia this week is, did you know that during Prohibition, there was so much tourism from the Pacific Northwest heading up to British Columbia to buy booze that British Columbia in the 1920s changed over from driving on the left side of the road, like the British do, to driving on the right to appease the American tourists?
I did not know that. That's fascinating.
Yeah, really weird piece of trivia. that I found. I learned that on a podcast I picked up over the break called History That Doesn't Suck. The guy is a professor. I tried to fact check this elsewhere, and I don't know if it's just because it happened at the same time. It's not a direct relation, but nobody else really kind of backed that up. But that's my useless trivia.
So it's a lie, is what you're saying.
Take it or leave it.
Okay. All right. Well, that's some great trivia. Now we're going to move on to why we're really here, which is to talk about our two upcoming replacement levies. And before we get into the meat of those, Brian, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the big subject over the last couple weeks, which has been your starring role in our new hit show, Levy Hot Seat, which racked up an impressive more than 10,000 views in just the first day. So walk us through that process. Where'd that idea come from? What was it like? Is your mouth still burning from that?
Yeah, I like to focus more on my status as influencer now,
Yes, okay.
with the views.
Add that to your title.
Correct, rather than the heat, the 5 billion Scoville heat units that Director Mayers and I were subjected to in that video. Truthfully, that was Principal Ashley Swindoll's idea, who's the principal at Elk Plain. At our levy kickoff meeting with administrators, she said, it would be a great idea. And then I immediately said, yeah, could we just keep that between us? And then I took giant credit for we should do a Levy Hot Seat, a Hot Ones video, and to watch you and Doug get your hands around it and kind of turn it into something that went from Ashley's great idea to something that we could put out there. And while it's goofy and silly and all the rest, the point was getting folks to at least understand the facts around the levy, the importance of the levy to this district, and to get out and vote.
And have some fun with it, too. And the team over at Elk Plain, they deserve big kudos, and we'll thank them right here now on the pod. There's no bigger kudos than being on the podcast. So thanks to the team over there. The theater students and theater director and music director all were on hand to help us get things set up. The lighting and the set design was all thanks to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And, as Brian said, this is all about getting the information out there, which is what we're doing today. Sometimes it takes a spoonful of sugar. Sometimes it takes a spoonful of hot sauce.
Really?
Insert the fake laugh here.
That's not bad. That's not bad. Right off the cuff, too.
Not great, but not bad.
We're aiming for somewhere in the middle there.
Well, before we let this go, Brian, was that the hottest thing you have ever eaten? I can't imagine there's a lot of competition given your timid palate.
So it was definitely the hottest thing that I've had to eat. And it was that what we couldn't do is check in about 30 minutes later on the podcast as it just continued to build and build and build. And if you noticed, both Director Mayers and I were just dipping those hot wings very gingerly in the sauce. They weren't covered and dripping down our chins and all the rest. And even the amount that we were putting on those was like scorched my tongue like the surface of the sun would have done. So anyway, yes, it was the hottest thing.
Yeah, really fun to watch you guys react to all the different hot sauces. And I swear you have a probably 10-second drink of water at one point during it, which is really fun to watch the reactions, which is the point of the videos, I think. That's why they're popular on YouTube.
So that's why people are watching. But the great thing is they're leaving with some really important information about our 2 upcoming levies. Brian, you're also getting out to every building here and talking to just about everyone in the district about these 2 levies. Are you hearing any common themes among employees, either asking questions about the levies or stating things about what we should be doing with the levies? Just give us a sense of what's going on out there in Team Bethel.
I love the question, and it's interesting. Folks who've been here for a while have some perspective to put this in. And then folks who are new to Bethel or new to education and new to the funding structure maybe have a little less perspective. But regardless, the theme that's coming from our staff is they know how important it is to the daily operations of our school. And our replacement levies, both the tech levy and the educational programs and operation levy, touch just about every aspect of the district, which means it doesn't matter for me whether I'm out visiting our child nutrition, which I've done several times, or our transportation department, or in school buildings with groups of teachers and paraprofessionals and our secretaries across the district. Those 2 replacement levies touch every piece of the district. So a theme that I've heard is folks understanding what it means to our kids and to our organization as a whole, how important these levies are.
And I know one of your main talking points when you go out is encouraging people to be the voice of what's going well in the district. We all know when the news only comes out when something's actively on fire or has just been on fire. But like you say, we have to be the ones that are telling our families and the community what's going well here.
I think it's a great point. I mean, I guess I think it's a great point because I go out and make it as often as I can. But what I mean by that is, and the word ambassador feels really strong and feels almost a little fake, but it's not. Like, we are the people that can tell the story of the great kids that are graduating from the school district, the learning that's happening between the difference between a first and a second grader in Bethel School District is incredible because of the work we put in, our families put in alongside us, and the work that kids are doing in schools to become better academically, socially, whole child. So the only people that can really tell that story are the folks that are with those kids every day and doing the work. So I really appreciate the opportunity to be out in schools and in departments kind of spreading that message, because we all need to be reminded of it sometimes. I've been reminded several times over the last couple months, especially after hard days, hard evenings. The work is hard. And just to be reminded that folks look to us, we're the trusted people in the community for what's really happening in schools, and need to take that role really seriously.
Yeah, I mean, now is not the time to be modest. We're doing amazing things in this district, and it's a good time to tell people about it, I think.
Absolutely. Well, Brian, to close things out, if you are I'm sure this has happened to you, you're in the supermarket, you're in the Home Depot, you're in the checkout line somewhere, and someone recognizes you and they need your elevator speech / checkout line speech about the levy, what do you tell them?
I start with, we are running 2 replacement levies. I like to open with the lead. And the lead is, we're running 2 replacement levies. They're replacements of expiring levies that our taxpayers have approved for years. The Educational Programs and Operations levy for decades, for over a decade with our technology levy. And we're running these levies at exactly the same rates that we ran them in 2022. And that's important to our voters. We know that times are really tough for folks in our community and in our nation. And so the idea that we would continue to try to do more with the same amount is really important for folks to hear, that we are great stewards of their money. I'd want to tell them I would tell 3 or 4 great stories about the things going on in our schools from, again, pre-kindergarten through all the way through graduation, and where our kids are going on to be college and career ready, and really focusing on the positive that comes from our Educational Programs and Operations levy and our technology levy. Again, I'd probably close with, and these are not new taxes. These are, again, run at exactly the same rates that we've run in the past and that you've approved, and we will continue to do good work with the money that you entrust us with.
And that is fantastic information that everyone in the district should have. And if you, dear listener, want more information about these levies, you can find everything you need at bethlesd.org/levy. Go there, get all these videos. Watch the Levy Hot Seat video if you haven't yet. There's a ton of other great videos, written stories, facts and figures, everything you need to know. Share it far and wide. And as always, don't forget to vote by February 10th.
And thank you very much, Ambassador, Influencer, Superintendent, Dr. Brian Lowney. Thanks for being here again today.
Thanks again to Dr. Brian Lowney for being a guest today. We will be back next week with another great show.